Hey, you guys, we're back. We're talking Exodus now. As you know, the Israelites were once welcomed as Joseph's family, and they had multiplied so much in Egypt. But a new Pharaoh rose to power, one who had no loyalty to Joseph's legacy. Instead of seeing the Israelites as a blessing, he saw them as a threat. Pharaoh's fear turned into oppression. He enslaved the Israelites, forcing them into backbreaking labor. But even in their suffering, they still multiplied. Go, Israelites! So Pharaoh made a chilling decree. Every newborn Hebrew boy would be thrown into the Nile. Awful, right? He wasn't just attacking them physically. It's like he was trying to erase their future. But one Hebrew woman named Yocheved saw something special in her son. She hid him for 3 months, knowing the risk, but when she couldn't hide him anymore, she placed him in a basket, sealed him up, and sent him down the river, praying that God would protect him. And wouldn't you know it, in a twist only God could orchestrate, Pharaoh's own daughter found the baby and took him in. She named him Moses, meaning drawn out of water, not knowing that one day he would draw his people out of slavery. Okay. Though raised in Egyptian luxury, Moses never really belonged. He knew his origin, he knew his people, and one day his knowledge pushed him to act. When Moses saw an Egyptian brutally beating a Hebrew slave, something just broke inside of him. He attacked the Egyptian and the man died. But when word spread, Pharaoh sought to kill him, and Moses took off running through the wilderness, and he found himself in Midian, where he got married, he had children, and he attended some sheep. It seemed like Egypt was a distant thing, until one day God called him in the most unsuspecting way. Unsuspecting, like we're talking a bush that's engulfed in flames, but never burning up, kind of unsuspecting way. But in the bush, Moses heard his name being called twice. And God had not forgotten his people, and he had chosen Moses to lead them to freedom. But Moses wasn't so sure about that. He wasn't confident in himself. He's like, hey, not me. He argued with God, but in the end, he ended up going. And he and his brother Aaron, they went to Egypt. They stood before Pharaoh and delivered God's message, which was, let my people go. And Pharaoh, he wasn't having that. He worked the Israelites even harder. The people turned on Moses, and Moses turned to God, asking, why did you even send me here? So Exodus begins with oppression, identity, and a calling. God's preparing Moses. He's shaping him, even in the wilderness, for a purpose bigger than himself. And sometimes we don't always understand why God takes us through hardships, but they're shaping us for something greater.